And yo, the views and opinions expressed by Zip is not always the views and opinions held by Zip. Sometimes they come from the cat. The cat doesn't identify as a cat and believes it's a pit bull. So around here, we refer to it as pit cat. In this video, we're going to be talking about the rift between Joe Budden and Fat Joe. But before we get into it, I'm going to need you to stall off on the like button, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when I drop these videos and all that. All right, so boom, check it. In my opinion, the Fat Joe and Jada podcast is trash, you heard? I already made a video and said I think it's gonna be trash, but now after watching a few episodes, I'm convinced it's trash, you heard? Yeah, because Fat Joe was on there saying wild off-the-wall shit like he's a habitual glizzy eater and things of that nature. Como? What you talking about, Papa? You a habitual glizzy eater. Anyway, he threw a shot at Joe Budden for no reason. I'm going to let you listen to what he said, though. You heard? Check it out.
Front row. Because somebody you don't like, your enemy, going to come sit right at, you know, that we call that the Joe Budden seats. You know, them second row.
I don't even got
You
a
ain't got a hoodie? I got to sit front row. I'll give you my experience.
What do you call them seats?
The Joe Budden seats. Them shit second row. Perfect example. Him and 50 got some shit, and I'm sitting courtside, and 50 comes sit.
He was right behind y'all.
Okay, but he's behind us. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but the man had a little something going on with 50, and why God put 50 Cent front row, and he's in like third row. Like, that would bother me if I was Joe Budden's. It happened to me before. When we just squashed
If he didn't bump in the fifth, would he have a nice experience?
you got a good seat, but the problem is you got to always expect the enemy might come front row.
Yo, what are you,
No.
what are you thinking?
Right, what are you thinking? What are you talking about? That's mad corny. Whatever he did, everything he's talking about right there, you got to think the enemy's going to come front row. You want your enemy in front of you. You don't want your enemy behind you. Take that clean head tap and knock you off and get you out. Like, what is he talking about there? God put 50 in the front row? God did that? Like, this is what I'm saying. Yo, Fat Joe is mad corny, bro. His stories is corny and lame. I don't know what they think they're going to accomplish with this podcast. Maybe they get a couple dollars. Maybe they get their couple dollars. Shout out to them. Get your money. But I don't think they're going to have no real strong voice in the hip-hop, sports, and entertainment industry. Right? I just don't think it's going to happen, you heard? But he threw a shot at Joe Budden. Everybody heard that and said to themselves, this nigga trying to get some traction. He mentioned Joe Budden. He hoping Joe Budden's wild him up. That's going to give his platform a little bit more traction. Everybody said that. Joe Budden's even said it when he responded to him. I don't even know if I would have responded to a nigga who called himself a habitual glizzy eater. Yeah, you called yourself a habitual glizzy eater and now you eating my glizzy. Like, get the fuck out of here. But anyway, Joe Budden wasn't jacking that.
Moving with the leverage of my management company or trying to be buddy-buddy or friendly with rappers that I'm not really buddy-buddy or friendly with. I'm the walking embodiment of...
Hold up. Know what he mean by that, right? With rappers I'm not really buddy-buddy with and all of that. He know Fat Joe don't really like 50 Cent. Yeah, they might have put that little beef to the side and all of that. But them niggas, they ain't no love there. Them niggas had beef for 20 years. You think all of a sudden they best friends? Get out of here. 50 and Fat Joe ain't friends, you heard? That's what Joe Budden's talking about when he said that. He wowed Fat Joe up with this response. Let's get to that. I'm going to start it over. Check it out.
Around moving with the leverage of my management company or trying to be buddy-buddy or friendly with rappers that I'm not really buddy-buddy or friendly with. I'm the walking embodiment of standing on my own too. And you know that, which is why you're using my name on your newly established platform trying to get traction because I'm the best in the biz. I recognize that too. Lastly, I just don't know what Joe Budden seats mean, and because I have so much relationship equity with Fat Joe, I'll wait for him to tell me. I don't want to assume. On one hand, where I come from, you would want to be seated behind your enemy, if anything.
Well, I'm from too.
That's the part I didn't follow the logic.
I'm from too.
You wouldn't want to be seated in front of him. So, if he was talking about that, I don't really get it, but that's on him. And lastly, maybe Joe Budden seats just means sitting behind somebody you make a lot more than. Until we get clarity on it, we won't really know. But be clear, reimagine how y'all mention my name in some of these conversations. I make a lot more than you niggas. So If I'm seated behind you, it's by choice, enjoying some popcorn with my baby. Running around moving the leverage of my man.
All right, so there you have it. Joe Budden, you talking about the Joe Budden seats like he couldn't afford the seats you was in. And Joe Budden said he made way more money than Fat Joe. If you Google him right now and just, celebritynetworth.com or, ChatGPT, whatever device you use or platform you use to check things like that, they say Joe Budden's got more money than Fat Joe. They say Joe Budden got more money than Fat Joe. He worth $6 million. Fat Joe worth $4 million. So what you talking about the Joe Budden seats like? See, what it is this. Fat Joe, like, let me establish this, right? Because I don't want y'all to think I'm a Fat Joe hater. I just think Fat Joe is mad corny. I told people this, and I stand on this. Fat Joe had hits for 30 years in the industry. You heard? He started with hits in the 90s, and he wasn't done with hits until 2017, 18. I think he came through with his last, all the way up. That's like 2016, 17. Came through a 9-3, 9-4 Flow Joe. He had hits in all the eras. Make It Rain with Lil Wayne. That joint with Jay Holiday. Jay Holiday. You know what I'm saying? Maybe whoa, he had mad hits. We thuggin' rolling on dubs with R. Kelly and Ashanti. What's love got to do? He had mad hits. Fat Joe has had mad hits. I got a new flex and I think I like it. He had hits through all of the eras. Since he been in the game, he had a hit in every era. This might be the only era right here where he didn't have a hit, but he had hits in all of the eras. So I don't want y'all to think that I'm a Fat Joe hater. No, I give Fat Joe credit when his credit is due. But with this podcast situation, he sounded like a lemon. I used to think when he used to be on live by himself, drinking Pepsis and all that, I thought then, like, yo, he's giving the world too much of himself. Like, I think the mystique around Fat Joe diminished once he was going live. Because I came home from up north, and a lot of these rap niggas was, like, still caught, stuck up in pandemic mode, and they used to be going live all the time. And I used to see him like, this nigga, like, this is who you really are, bro? And so now, he done parlayed that into a podcast with Jadakiss. Shout out to Jazz Chisholm. Know what I'm saying? I like Jazz Chisholm and all of that. I like Kiss too. Know what I'm saying? I don't really dislike Fat Joe. I just think he mad corny now. Like, the more him I see, the more corny I think he is, you heard? But listen, man, I ain't gonna hold y'all up too much longer, man. I just wanted to let y'all know I'm saying that I'm really jacking what Joe Budden said in response to Fat Joe, you heard? Like, everything Fat Joe said, yo, the Joe Budden seats, my enemy, this, that shit was a bunch of bullshit. Nigga just on his podcast saying a bunch of trash, you heard? And I don't know how long that thing gonna last, but, the 48 laws of power say use absence to increase respect and honor. A lot of these dudes must have missed that. Let's get to that.